Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Doodles. Now today I want to talk about something which has been causing quite the stir in the YouTube community over the last week or so, and that is that Philip Defranco has started a Patreon page in order to start a news network.
By building it out this way, not only can I give you more content now, but we'll be able to test organically to see what works and what we want the news network to be.
Now this has caused quite the divide with a lot of creators and viewers saying that Philip Defranco has a lot of money, he's worth a lot of money, and therefore he doesn't need money from his fans in order to fund a new project. And then in the same breath, you've got people that are obviously big fans of his and believe in what he's doing and are more than happy to pledge. Now I'm kind of neutral to the whole thing. I kind of get the reasons why it's a good idea to use Patreon or Kickstarter to do what Philip Defranco is doing, and I sort of see the reasons why people are against it with the fact that he's taking money from people a lot less well off than him in order to fund his next project. But if people want to donate to it, then that is entirely their choice and that is fine by me. And over 14,000 people at the time of filming this video have done just that. Now, one of the reasons why a lot of people are pretty angry about this whole situation is that Philip Defranco has chosen to hide the amount of money that is being pledged to his Patreon each month, which is something that majority of people don't do. Only a very small amount of creators who use Patreon actually hide the amount that they're earning. Although I kind of get why he's doing it, because it's for business purposes. I know obviously pretty much anyone that's on a Patreon who's making a substantial amount of money owns their own business, but because this is going beyond just a YouTube channel and just beyond a person, say, in the bedroom or in the home, creating YouTube videos, a lot of people don't want to release their financial situation, especially if they run their own business. If you are self-employed, or if you have a parent or a family member or a friend that is self-employed, ask them to show you exactly how much they earn and then put it on the internet and share with the whole world how much their business makes or loses, and I guarantee that pretty much all of them won't do it. So on that basis, why should Philip Defranco be any different? However, if this was Kickstarter, which is essentially what his Patreon is, then he would be forced to show exactly how much money people have pledged, because this Patreon page is essentially a long-term Kickstarter as opposed to helping someone pay the bills in order to create content. This is being used essentially to long-term fund the news network, so it's essentially just one big long-running Kickstarter. But because he hasn't been transparent, no one knows for sure how much he's earning on Patreon, and therefore people can't assume that he's made more than enough money on Patreon per month in order to fund the network. So people are potentially blindly funding something that doesn't need any more funding than it's currently getting. Figures have been placed out there anywhere from $30,000 a month all the way to $100,000, which is far too excessive in my opinion. But I've been doing a lot of calculations to try and figure out a relatively accurate ballpark figure, and I'm going to share those with you now. So for this next section, I'm going to be looking off to the side a little bit. I've got a lot of information on screen from all the research and writing that I've been doing, so I'm going to be sort of looking slightly away from the camera as I read some of this off for you guys. But basically with Patreon, you can pledge as little as $1 a month all the way up to the sky's the limit. It's entirely up to you what you want to pledge. However, Philip Defranco does have some $10,000 reward tiers which aren't so out at the minute, so I don't believe anyone has pledged $10,000 to this Patreon. However, he does have some $1,000 reward tiers which are so out, so at least one person, I believe multiple people, have pledged $1,000 a month to this project. So at the minute, Philip Defranco has 14,477 patrons at the time of recording this video, and if all of them pledged $1, he would have $14,477 a month on Patreon. However, if they all pledged $1,000 a month, Philip Defranco would get $14,477,000 a month, which obviously we know is not the case. However, a while ago, one of the call posted up a picture showing the top creators on Patreon, and Philip Defranco ranked 4th. And I can estimate because of that he is getting approximately $35,000 in revenue while having 8,226 patrons. And so obviously his number has increased significantly since then. However, looking at it, the person in 5th place gets $34,220.70 a month on Patreon, and the person at number 2 spot gets $35,505.70 a month, and Philip Defranco ranks 4th, and the 4th and 3rd person aren't shown the amount that they make in a month. So with his 8,226 patrons, I worked out the median to be approximately $34,863.20 a month. So just for the sake of argument, we are going to say that with 8,226 patrons, that is how much Philip Defranco was making at the time on Patreon. And this also works out that the average pledger pledged $4.23. So even though some people pledged $100, even $1,000, because of this figure, we have to know that most people pledged either $5 or less. but he doesn't have 8,226 patrons now. At the time of filming this, he has 14,477. So how much extra revenue is he getting from those 6,251 new patrons? So right, although this figure won't be entirely accurate, we're going to say that those original 8,226 patrons are early adopters. And if you people don't know, early adopters are basically the people that jump onto a new platform or jump into a new project at the earliest opportunity. So for this example, I'm going to be using a service and a platform that me and you know really, really well. In fact, both of us are using it right now. I'm using this platform in order to upload this video to that I'm creating, and you are using this platform right now in order to watch me talk about what I'm talking about, and that is YouTube. So when it comes to YouTube, the early adopters would be anyone from the day YouTube started, anyone that made an account either to create content or watch content from the day YouTube opened its doors and first became a thing, up until about 2008 or even a little bit later when the partnership program became a fully fledged thing that anyone could join. The people that watched or created content on YouTube were the early adopters and the one that got behind the platform and helped create it and help build it up to the thing that we know it is today. And those people are generally a lot more committed to the cause and generally back something a lot more than secondary adopters that come to the service or platform a little bit later on. So the early adopters are the ones that are more likely to pledge the $1,000, the 100 tier, the $35 tiers. They're the ones that are more likely to pledge that because they jumped on this opportunity the second they could in order to help Philip Defranco and back what he's doing. And because of these early adopters, the $100 and $1,000 tiers are now sold out. However, people can still pledge that amount, just not receive the reward. So on that basis, most of them likely won't do that. And people can also pledge $1 and not receive a reward because the minimum reward tier is $5. But people will pledge $1 and not receive a reward, but most of them would likely pledge $5 or maybe $10, with the odd one also pledging $35. So as I said, the early adopters are the ones that are more likely to pledge the higher amounts and the ones that are truly going to get behind him and this new news network. The secondary pledges are the ones that are more likely to pledge what could be considered pocket change. However, that does vary from person to person. So for me, if I was going to back this project, I'd probably back $5. That is probably the maximum that in my financial situation I could afford to give away without truly missing it. However, some people $35 or even $50 could be pocket change. Like I say, it does vary person to person. But because the average pledge from these early adopters was $4.23, I'm going to divide the remaining 6,251 patrons in this way. So I'm going to say that 40% of people pledge $1, 50% of people pledge $5, so that shows that 90% pledge $5 or less, or a huge majority. And for the remaining 10%, I'm going to estimate that about 9% of people pledge $10 and probably 1% of people pledge $35. So right, using the 6,251 figure, that means that 10% of people is 625.1 people. We're going to leave the decimal in to give a more accurate representation. So using that figure, we can determine that 40% of the secondary adopters is 2,500.4 people who pledge $1. So that gives 2,540 cents a month through the $1 pledges. So like I said, an estimated 50% of people will have pledged $5, giving a total of 3,125.5 people for a total amount of $15,627.50. And then for the next calculation, I estimated that 9% of people will have pledged $10. So 9% is 562.59 people, giving a total of $5,625.90. And then the final 1% of people pledged $35. So 1% of the pledges is 62.51 people, giving us a total of $2,187.85 in pledges. So right, adding all those amounts up, the new pledges give Philip Defranco an estimated $25,951.65. So we'll add that to the initial pledges from the early adopters. So that is $34,863.20 plus $25,951.65, giving Philip Defranco an estimated $60,814.85. So hopefully someone is still watching this video now, because I imagine that whole math section was very, very boring. However, it had to be done. You can't calculate or estimate a figure without actually doing the maths in order to come to that conclusion. And I spent a lot of time researching and sort of coming to the conclusion of how much people are likely to pledge and the amount of percentages that those people are going to be. And it took a lot of time, so hopefully it was worth it. Like I said, it's only an estimation, it's a guesstimation at best that Philip Defranco has approximately earned around $60,000. It could be off by a couple of thousand if I'm in the ballpark. It could be off by tens of thousands if I completely nowhere near the figure. It could be 40,000, it could be 80,000, it could be 100,000, but I reckon it is somewhere close to the region of $60,000, give or take. So in my opinion, is that too much? Well, when you think about it, that's over $700,000 a year that is currently being pledged on his Patreon. Obviously, that could go up, that could go down. However, if he does make a news network, that is going to require a big team to do a lot of work, and it is likely going to be a 24-hour news network. At the minute, it only looks like it's going to be a more expanded version of his current YouTube channels. And if that's all it ever becomes, then yeah, that is definitely too much. He does not need $60,000 a month in order to continue making the Philip Defranco show. Even 7 days a week and making his vlogs 5 days a week rather than 2, that is far too much money. If it becomes a fully fledged news network that is going to be independent, that is going to be operated 24 hours a day, or somewhere in the region 24 hours a day, then no, that probably isn't enough money. However, I imagine Philip Defranco will be able to get a lot of sponsorships, and obviously he will be able to get revenue, especially when the adpocalypse is over, or at least goes back to normal. So he should be more than enough in order to do what he's going to do. But he does state on his Patreon that it may become a news network. He's pushing the idea of a news network, but it's not guaranteed. It could just be a more expanded YouTube channel, and in which case the Patreon isn't as needed as what he's making out to be. But hopefully he gets the news network. I'm actually behind him. I'm not pledging to him because I can't really afford it. But I truly believe in what he's doing. I really hope he does accomplish it. And I really do hope that he does create an independent news network and he can continue to expand what he's already doing. And let me know what you guys think. Do you think the figure is accurate? Are you pledging to Philip Defranco? If not, do you plan to? Do you think that the idea is something he shouldn't be doing? Do you think he should have went to Kickstarter? Let me know all your opinions down below in the comment section. I know this video is long. I know I had a lot of math. And I know it was probably very, very boring, but if you are watching this video right now, thank you. This took a lot longer to film, it took a lot longer to research than I anticipated, and I hope you guys dig it. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. My name is Doodles, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.